United with Christ. Meet local churches with open doors, serving throughout the Border Valley community, and sharing the truth and hope of God's love and salvation. A presentation by KSE Channel 38 Christian Television. And now, United with Christ.
I just want to welcome all the ladies here to this day that have come to enrich their lives through this session on women's health. And I want to welcome our viewing audience, and I want to thank the station for the opportunity to come into your home. We are so privileged to be in America and have access to excellent health care. And sometimes we don't take advantage of what is necessary to allow us to fulfill the responsibilities that are so great. We all know the saying that a man's work is from dusk until dawn or until the setting sun, but a woman's work is never done. But with all of that work, where do we get the energy? How do we find the wisdom, the time to take care of ourselves? You know, as the saying goes on the airline, put your mask on first. Well, how do we do that if our bodies are broken and if we're not in optimum health? Well, the goal at Destiny Family Christian Center has been to minister to the whole person, the body, the soul, and the spirit. I would like for our panelists to share personal tips from their experience for us to optimize our health, or to tell us what the most common mistakes that women make in regard to their health may be. Dr. Davis?
Personally, I think a lot of times in our ignoring of ourselves, we tend to say, I deserve this or that or the other. And over the past few years, I made a concerted effort to try and be better at maintaining my health. I've instituted my 30 minutes a day. It's not strenuous, and it's something you really have to schedule into your life. But if I can do it, I think everybody should be able to at least try. And the availability of exercise situations, I mean, you know, the malls are open from 6 to 9 before. You can go walk. Just walk for a half an hour, and you're going to find a lot of company. And that's something that I really had to make an effort to institute into my day. And I made it, and I feel better. And I want to be able to be functional and feel good for a longer period of time. I'm already 60 years old. And I feel like I got at least another 10 or 15 years I can work. So, but it's a matter of making a conscious decision that I'm going to take better care of myself, because I want to be here to offer my family the help they need and offer my patients the help they need. And I don't want to be limited by my physical incapabilities.
That sounds really awesome. I'd like to pose that same question to Dr. Yeary.
Well, for me, I think I have to say the same thing as Dr. Davis. Finding time, and I have to be honest, I don't always find the time, but one of the things that I've found that has been very beneficial for me is taking time away to meditate, or meditate, yes, in the Word of God, but also doing things like yoga. I used to think of yoga as something that was like kind of, yeah, or that's nothing, I can do that. I took one yoga class, and that was all it took. And it's one of those things where you go away and you feel refreshed, you feel rejuvenated, relaxed. You actually feel like you've done a workout. It's great for stretching, for strengthening, and I go away and I feel like Jell-O. And so it's a great way for me to relieve stress. And so that's one of the things that I've tried to implement. I don't always have time to go to a live class, but I do have videos that I get and try to do at home in my spare time.
Wow, this is really interesting to me. I'm learning so much. Dr. Johnson, personal experience of...
I actually they just said exactly what I would say. If I was to add anything, it's kind of how you opened up. Really, I truly believe wellness is trifold. It takes a healthy mind, body, and soul. And if one of those is not healthy, then the other can't be healthy. They all have to work together like a well-oiled machine. So, there's many examples. If you're not in connection or relationship with Christ, you can have an unhealthy mind, depressed, which could lead to hypertension or, an increase in a decrease in your immune system, where your body can't fight off illnesses as effectively as it could. So I just really think that's the key to unlocking the gates to longevity, if you will.
I would like to ask another question, and you can just pick and choose which part that you prefer to address, but it would be, what are the latest recommendations for women's preventive health care and maintenance in regard to heart health, breast health, mental, emotional health, menopause, hormone replacement, diet and exercise, or spiritual health? And so this is a whole list that we can, just jump in on. I expect the panelists to, choose their passion to address how we can prevent things from happening. What do we need to be doing? Dr. Davis.
I defer. I defer to the internist. I think she's got it all together.
Very good. Dr. Yeary.
That's where
Dr. Davis.
Okay. Well, those were a lot of different...
So you can jump in on anyone.
Okay. This is the way I handle... if I have a person that's coming in for a wellness exam, I usually split it into two different age groups. Below 50 and above 50. And based on that particular age range, that's how I determine how I'm going to go about preventive health exams. So, and let me just preface this by saying there are many different guidelines by which we determine how we are going to screen individuals. And so the guidelines that I'm going to tell you today come from the U.S. Preventative Task Force, but there are many other guidelines. And so as we're talking about this, it may seem a little confusing because some of the guidelines contradict or conflict. So it's good for you to know the different guidelines just so that you're informed, but these are just one set of guidelines, okay? So from the U.S. Preventative Task Force, for any woman who is less than the age 50, basic things that I'm screening for: blood pressure and heart rate, kind of go hand in hand. Also look at the BMI, which is the body mass index, and that's what we use to determine healthy body weight. In terms of cancer prevention screening, for women who are over the age of 21, a routine Pap test, a Pap smear, is done, completed once every 3 years. After the age of 30, we do a Pap screening test once every 3 years or once every 5 years with the addition of an HPV screening. So those are the essential and basic things that I do when I'm looking or doing a preventative health exam for someone 50 and younger. Also, I will also touch base on, if a woman is 40, I will touch base on mammography and breast health screening. For the U.S. Preventative Task Force guidelines, they do not recommend starting mammography until the age of 50. But I take everybody on a case-by-case basis, because if I have a female who has a significant family history of breast cancer, do you think I'm going to wait to 50? Oh, no. So I will start screening at the age of 40, or sometimes even earlier if their sister or their mother had breast cancer. For 50 and above, that's when we start screening for colon. So we'll start doing colon cancer screening. We'll start doing colonoscopies, mammographies annually every year. We continue to do pap smear screening until the age of 65. And then I'm also still looking at blood pressure. I'm looking at BMI. I'm looking at heart rate. So there might have been some things that I missed. Oh, age 65, also start screening for bone densities. So,
Awesome. We're going to allow our audience to ask questions. So, if you have a question, you can raise your hand and we'll bring a mic to you. But while the audience is thinking of questions that they would like to address to the doctors, I want to say that I believe that there is a panacea for all ills that deal with the spirit. There are soul's diseases, there are spiritual diseases, and I do believe that that panacea is gratitude. If we could just learn to appreciate the things that we have rather than focus on our trials, our troubles, the things that we wish that we have, I believe our spirits would be stronger. I don't know if you notice that when you begin to think about some adversity that you're going through, that you will feel your body weaken. But when you begin to focus on the blessings of God and you begin to praise, the Bible says God has given us a garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. And it seems almost like an oxymoron, because when you're feeling down and depressed, the last thing you feel like doing is praising. But if you will offer the sacrifice of praise, you will find that the dark clouds will start to roll, and you will find that your burdens are lifted. You will feel lighter. You'll feel healthier. So there is a scripture that tells us a thankful heart is, good medicine. A joyful spirit is good medicine. And so as we make a choice to rejoice, I believe that we're going to enjoy better health, and we will set a better atmosphere for our families. So I don't know if we have questions from the audience. Anybody hands get raised? Here we go.
Well, I'm about to turn 55. I've had a partial hysterectomy when I was 16. I had a full hysterectomy when I was 24. And I've been told by quite a few doctors that I didn't need a pap smear. And I'm like, I'm not understanding this, because I've been through colon cancer. I'm a 2-time cancer survivor, a stroke with a double aneurysm. My body is really sick inside. The aneurysm caused me to where my mind doesn't focus, I can't focus on a lot of things. A lot of things doesn't stay with me. I want to make my mind stronger. I want to know what I have to do to overcome a lot of these things that I'm going through. And I know I should have a pap smear, and I haven't had a pap smear in over 10 years. Because and I've been here in El Paso 2 years. The doctors told me on Kenworthy that I didn't need a pap smear. When I asked, I said I want to see a gynecologist, and they like, for what? You had a hysterectomy. I'm not understanding. So somebody tell me what should I do?
Well, even though you had a hysterectomy, you still have usually a vaginal barrel, right? So your vagina needs to be tested, because you can get problems with your vagina, particularly when you have, and Doctor referred to human papillomavirus, or viruses that cause cervical cancer, that can cause a cancer of the vagina, because it's basically the same kind of lining. And it is so prevalent in the world, it's almost endemic. human papillomavirus. That's why they've made a vaccine. So you are exposed, whether it's, you've been with the same guy 20 years. Now we've just, really virology is a pretty new science, and we're just starting to understand what viruses can do. You might have been in the same relationship for 20 years, and all of a sudden, my biggest problem is explaining to somebody, you have a negative pap smear, but oh, you are positive for high-risk HPV. And that is something that can cause a problem later. But women get all up in arms about it, but they probably had it for 20 or 30 years already. And it hasn't done anything significant to their pap smears. It's just another level of understanding, or another scientific level that we've come to. And I think in your situation, to have a pap smear periodically, we may differ on intervals and ages, but you're going to find that in all the literature. Some people will say you need it, maybe every 2 or 3 years. If you have the same sexual partner, or you don't have a pap smear every 5 years, if you have the same partner and you've had 3 to 4 pap smears that are documented negative with the same physician, or you can provide the documentation. So you're going to find a lot of places, you can read and find a lot of places are going to disagree on the time interval. But I think in 10 years, yes, you need a pap smear.
Another question?
Yes, I have actually 3 questions, 2 for me and 1 for my mom. One of them is for low income, that you don't have no income, or you have low income, to actually see a physician. I have tried to go with the Obamacare and try to do all that, and it says they don't even do that here in the state of Texas. I've tried to go through the health department, and I've tried asking them. I have to have kids and I have to be pregnant in order to get any help from them. Is there any other way of going about and getting assistance with that, to where I still can do my mammogram, and I need to do my my pap smear and stuff of that sort? I also I do get cysts under my breast. I've gotten them for it's been a couple of years now. They come and go. The doctors, I've seen doctors for it in the past, and they don't know why I get them. I still don't understand why I get them. I've gotten a lot of tests. It's very frustrating to you're paying out all this money, and when you do have it, and then when you don't have it, it's nobody helps. It's hard. So how would you go about getting assistance for stuff like that?
Well, I think that the counties will adjust your bill according to what your income is. If you don't have income, you can go to University Medical Center, and they are supposed to provide care for you. Because if you have no resources and you've looked at Obamacare and that's not an option for you, that may be your resource to go and get examined there. Quote, county medicine has gotten a bad rap, but there's a lot of people for your problems to evaluate your problems. So in a way, it's advantageous. We all are products of education and medical education, and that's where we learned. And that's only possible when people go there and get evaluated. And that's how we learn to the cascade of problems and how to work them up and what to do for them. And your problem goes through more than one brain. When you come to me, I'm limited to what's in my head and what I can find in a resource. But when you go to the county system of medicine, you have your problem looked at by more than one person. There's a supervisory physician, there's a residents at different levels, and they all will talk about you if you have a very interesting or perplexing case, and then you get the advantage of multiple opinions.
Thank you. And then the last question I have is I'm studying cosmetology, and my mother, I always do her hair and stuff of that sort. she's very sensitive in her scalp. It's really weird. But like she's already gotten a lot of like MRIs done. They've done testing. She really gets really bad migraines where sometimes she sees double vision, and they seem to not know they say nothing's wrong with her, everything's fine. They just give her medication. But is there like other testings or stuff that she can get done or ask for that?
Well, with migraines a lot of times are multifactorial. There's a lot of different things that can contribute and cause migraines. And so a lot of times when we're treating, we won't necessarily do a full diagnostic workup. It's great that you've had the MRIs because they help to rule out more detrimental things, such as tumors and things of that nature. But with migraines, sometimes it's trial and error. You know, I'll have to prescribe one medication. If that one doesn't work, then we move on to the next medication until we find something that works well for you. And so sometimes there's medications which we call prophylactic medications, which you take on a day-to-day basis, which actually prevent the headaches. And then there's also medications which we call breakthrough medications, which treat the headaches when you have them more intensified. And so if at this point in time there's been a negative workup, you haven't seen anything, or the doctors haven't seen anything on the MRI or any brain imaging, and we're looking at a typical migraine headache, basically it's just a matter of finding the right medication that works for you.
Another question from anybody in our audience?
Right now I'm taking hormone pills for the hot flashes, and I've been taking them for like 3 years, and it's like 1 milligram. So is there a time limit as far as how long I'm supposed to take it, or?
As in everything in medicine, everything is individualized. And it's hard to answer a question. Medicine is still at least 50% history. And to really understand somebody, you have to sit down and give them the whole history, know whether or not they had a hysterectomy, how much they've been tried on before. Is this the first level that you started at? Or is this something that has come to a certain point? I don't know how many of you saw 60 Minutes a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about Ambien and how they've discovered, but it's been there all along, women metabolize drugs differently than men, and each individual woman metabolizes a drug differently from the other woman that's sitting next to her. So your level of hormone, although we sort of pick a level out of the sky, it seems like, but it's really individualized. Another woman may do fine on a 0.5 milligram, but we know that the recommendation currently is 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years.
Okay. Beyond that, you may have prolonged estrogen exposure, but it's your choice, in my way of thinking. If that gives you a better quality of life, then it's worth the risk to you. That's your decision to make. It's not mine.
Okay, and I had one more question about working out. Like, I have a workout program where I try to do at least 4 or 5 times a week, and I do it like anywhere from 30, 45 minutes. How often do I put weightlifting into that program?
Well, typically, this is how I do it. I weight train 3 times a week, and I focus on a different muscle group during those workouts. So Mondays, I work my legs. That's it. Tuesday, I'll work my arms and my biceps, my arms. And then Wednesdays, I work chest and back. The other days, and that's my weight training. And the rest of the days, I just try to incorporate aerobic activity. I like high intensity interval training. I do not like being on a treadmill for 2 hours. I'll go in the gym and women are on the treadmill for 2 and 3 hours. I don't have time for that. I like to get in and get out, you actually get better results. You get more fat burning for a longer period of the day. And when I say high interval intensity training, you can Google this. You can look up. It's called Tabata, Tabata, and there's a timer for it, and it's an 8-minute workout. And what you do is whatever the exercise you're going to do, whether you want to run on the treadmill, whether you want to do jumping jacks, whether you want to do push-ups, you're going to do that exercise as intense and as fast as you can, where you're out of breath, like you can't talk, you can't answer a question while you're doing this. And you do that for 10 seconds, and then 20 seconds rather, and you rest for 10 seconds, and then you do it again for 20 seconds, and then you rest for 10, and you do eight repetitions of that. And that ends up being about 4 minutes, and then that's it. And you try to increase that. Maybe when you start off, you only can do 1 round of Tabata, maybe 1 in the morning, and I'll try to do 1 before I go to bed, but I found that to really, really help burn fat, and you don't feel like you're sacrificing that much because it's quick. So just Google it and look it up and see what you think about it. But I enjoy it.
Okay, I have one more question. It's for exercise as well. If you take like dietary supplements, I know I've seen stuff on Dr. Oz where you take like the green bean, it's like green bean tea, or the raspberry ketone, lipozene, stuff like that. Yes. How does that work? Is it good to take or not?
Balance is really key. Exercise, rest, healthy diet, all of that, I think, makes a huge difference. I've taken supplements for many years, and for me, I believe they do make a difference in how I feel. I do believe that when I began years and years ago, I had colds more frequently, and I would search for quality supplements. I couldn't just use every brand, but I discovered ones that worked for me, and my cold frequency decreased immensely. My energy stamina went up, and a lot of people think I look a lot younger than I am. So,
Thank you for joining us for this program. Destiny Family Christian Center would like to invite you to Ignite the Dream, our family empowerment night with special guests, Judge Brian Haggerty of the Northeast Youth Coalition, Maggie Goitia, a youth advocate, and Dr. Rosalba Durr, a bilingual specialist from the Gadsden School District. It is for youth, parents, friends, and neighbors. It's happening Monday, March 17th at 7 p.m. at Destiny Family Christian Center, 9615 Dyer, El Paso, Texas. Call 915-755-7744 to register for childcare and free pizza from 6:30 to 7.
Thank you for watching United with Christ. We pray this has been a blessing to you, and we invite you to tune in again tomorrow. We invite your comments, questions, or prayer requests. You may contact us at KSE Christian Television, 2201 East Wyoming Avenue, El Paso, Texas 79903, or call us at 915-532-8588 during regular business hours. Or you can visit our website at www.ksctv.com. God bless you.